Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Tonight, which is the 22nd night of the month of Ramadan, inshallah, we'll talk about a couple of ayat from Surah Al-Fatir. Very important ayat. As a matter of fact, the whole Quran is important, but something which is relevant for today's time and in general. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in verse number 27 of Surah Al-Fatir, Ba'ad a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. ألم ترى أن الله أنزل من السماء ماء فأخرجنا به ثمرات مختلفا ألوانها ومن الجبال جدد بيض وحمر مختلف ألوانها وغرابيب سود. صدق الله العظيم. In this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the power of Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the translated meaning of the verse that see you not that Allah sends down water, rain from the sky, and we produce therewith fruits of varying colors. And among the mountains are streaks, white and red, and varying colors, and others are very black. When we pay attention to this verse and the following verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us how powerful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. So a man, when he thinks and ponder on these signs from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these ayat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so he realizes the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At the same time, the humbleness that he feels in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or the khashiyah of Allah Azza wa Jal is felt just by pondering on these things. That Allah Azza wa Jal is making us think. When he says, Alam tara anna Allah anzala min as-samai ma'an fa akhrajna bihi thamaratin mukhtalifan alwanuha. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us that look at how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends the water from the skies, from the heavens, and how from this water different kinds of fruits of different colors come out of the land and the trees, and they are all unique in their taste, in their the appearance and all that. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the smaller things like the fruits, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes to a different aspect of it, which is about the mountains. That if you look at the mountains, that even the mountains are of different colors. Some of them are red, some of them are white, some of them have different colors of streaks within the mountains, and some of them are very black. And in Arabic, the word gharabibu is used, or gharabibu sud is used for something which is very black. It's not just talking about a black rather, it is very black, as mentioned there. And the similar thing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when it talks about this these signs, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also within the same surah, in the previous surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَمَا يَسْتَوِي الْأَعْمَى وَالْبَصِيرُ, that not the blind, the one who rejects the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who rejects the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the oneness of Allah Azza wa Jal, and Islam, he is not same when it's referring to al-a'ma, which is the blind, if you want to talk it literally, but here is referring to the one who sees the truth. He is not same as wal-basir. Basir is the one who sees all these signs and comprehend the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, believes in the message from Allah Azza wa Jal. He is the one who is really the seeing one. And then Allah compares wala dhulumatu wala nur, and the darkness is not same as the light. And darkness here, the word uses dhulumat. Dhulumat is the plural form of dhulum. Dhulum is the darkness, and he is talking about all sorts of darknesses. So that anything which is dark, which is misguided, the message which misguides the people from Allah Azza wa Jal. They are not same as the Nur, which is Al-Islam, which is the belief in Allah Azza wa Jal and the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and following Islam. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the shade is not same as to be under the sun, heat of the sun as well. These are just the examples Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving, so people can think and realize that the greatness of Allah Azza wa Jal. And similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about his greatness, that how he has created the things in a perfect manner. All those human beings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created, all these mountains, all these animals that Allah has created, they're all in unique form. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned that in other places as well, like in Surah Al-Ra'd, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَفِي الْأَرْضِ قِطَعٌ مُتَجَاوِرَاتٌ وَجَنَّاتٌ مِنْ أَعْنَابٍ وَزَرْعٌ وَنَخِيلٌ سِنْوَانٌ وَغَيْرُ سِنْوَانٍ يُسْقَى بماء واحد ونفضل بعدها على بعد في الأكل إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يعقلون. And in the earth are neighboring tracts and gardens of vines and green crops and date palms growing into two or three from a single stem root, or they otherwise watered with the same water, yet some of them we make more excellent than the others who eat. There are signs for the people who think and who understand. And similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about at another place, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ وَالدَّوَّابِ وَالْأَنْعَامِ مُخْتَلِفٌ أَلْوَانُهُ كَذَلِكَ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, and likewise men and moving creatures and cattle are all of various colors. And we know that even the same species, whether it's animals or whether we talk about humans, they are from the same species, but each and every one is a unique one. And that itself shows us that there must be some wise entity that has created all this. There is no way this can be an accident, that we find that everything is in harmony and the way Allah has created in balance. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف ألسنتكم وألوانكم إن في ذلك لآيات للعالمين. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the signs in the creation of the heavens and the earth, and how the people have different languages and the different tongues, languages they speak in, and they have different colors, and there are signs for the people who have knowledge. And then after that, the interesting thing is, after mentioning all this to show that the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about وَمِنَ النَّاسِ وَالدَّوَّابِ وَالْأَنْعَامِ مُخْتَلِفٌ أَلْوَانُهُ كَذَلِكَ. The similar way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here again in Surah Al-Fatih talks about that, and men and the dawab, which are all the living creatures, beasts, etc., and cattle in like manner of various colors, how Allah has given them different colors. And then interestingly, then the subject kind of changes and says, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاء, that indeed it is only those who have knowledge among his slaves are the one that fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And scholars have talked in detail about just this verse where Allah is referring to إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاء, that only those who have knowledge fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning, because if we connect it to the previous verses, that shows that it is the comprehension of this power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Almighty, He is all powerful, all knowing, and how He has created everything in balance. These things, the one who has knowledge of that, the one who has a knowledge of of Asma wa Sifat of Allah Azza wa Jal, the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his attributes, meaning the more a man knows about these things, that he gets the khashiyah of Allah Azza wa Jal, meaning he has a fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As Ali bin Abi Talha reported, that Ibn Abbas commented that those who know that Allah is able to do all things, and Ibn Abbas said that the one among his servants who knows about Ar-Rahman is the one who does not associate anything in worship with him, the one who accepts as lawful that which he has permitted and accepts as unlawful that which he has prohibited. He obeys his commands and is certain that he will meet him, and he brought to account for his deeds. And we find many other scholars talking about the same thing, which is as Sufyan al-Thawri narrates from Abu Hayyan al-Taymi. He said it used to be said that the knowledgeable are of three types of people. First type is the one who knows Allah and the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Second type of the person is one who knows Allah but does not know the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And third is the one who knows the commands of Allah but does not know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he says that the one who knows Allah and the command of Allah is the one who fears Allah and knows the limits, the hudud of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the obligatory duties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the one who knows Allah but does not know the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who fears Allah but does not know the limits and the obligatory duties of the faraid means. So he will slip, he will make mistakes. And the one who knows the commands of Allah but does not know Allah is the one who knows the limits, hudud, and the obligatory duties, but does not fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are three categories of the people. And one interesting thing to understand here is it is not talking about from the perspective of the knowledge of how much academic knowledge a person carries. A person can have all the knowledge of the world, but if he does not know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then he will not fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As Ibn Masud said, knowledge is not due to the much narration of the hadith, but due to the much fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this fear of Allah azza wa jal is the real marker, or if you want to call it a real sign of an alim, of a scholar. As Hassan al-Basri says, the scholar is he who fears Allah though he has not seen him, and turns to what is approved by him and keeps away from what makes him angry. So the bottom line here is to understand and that the real scholar, when we talk about, are the ones who fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we say fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are fearing, they are aware of the hudud of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and so they do not cross the boundaries that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has drawn, and also they fulfill all the obligations that Allah has placed on his slaves. So what is the relevance for all of us, or the individuals who go to the scholar to learn about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us? If we, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded us, if you don't know, go to the people who know, who have the knowledge of it. So when we go to it, so when we talk about the knowledge, the scholar, the ulama, these are the ones, yes, we get the knowledge about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but when we are trying to see who is the real scholar, we have to make sure he is the one who does not cross the boundaries of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who fulfill all the obligations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he is not the one who is selling the verses of Quran, verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at cheap price. What means by that is that he is not the one who is twisting the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so the people will be pleased from him. He's not the one who is changing the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so it becomes easier for him and for the others. Rather than he is the one who always says the truth, always says the haqq, as we were talking about yesterday from Surah Al-Ahzab as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullah qulu qawlan sadida. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, O you who believe, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and always say the truth, always say the straight words. So this is the main characteristic of a scholar, that he fears Allah and he gives the knowledge of Allah azza wa jal as he has received, and he does not change, he does not make any kind of a crookedness, and he does not skip any of the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to get the pleasure of the people, because he understands, he knows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is why he fears Allah and he fulfills all the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now, if we can expand that to, it should not be only thought of it, of course, when we talk about Islam. Islam is not limited to only some of the pillars of Islam. Yes, Islam has the pillars which are mentioned about the 5 pillars of Islam, and that need to be followed. But Islam is a way of life, and hence a scholar who really fears Allah azza wa jal, he should be presenting Islam as a way of life to the people and calling the people to live by Islam and fulfill the obligations of creating an environment for the mankind where they can live by Islam by implementing the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the form of a state where you can implement the deen of Allah, and that protects the people from all sorts of, whether it's a material or intellectual kind of harms that are done to the people, and carry the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the whole mankind. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the correct understanding of the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and make us one of those that who live by the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and carry the message of Islam to the rest of the mankind. وأقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين واستغفروا إنه غفور رحيم. جزاكم الله خيرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.